So let's hear it from Barbados and Grenada.
You get the team list?
All right, so Barbados, we go shooter.
Which one is it?
Daniel Walrod.
Not a fan.
Okay.
In goal attack, Derek Fred Gaines. In wing attack, Rihanna Wiggins. Center and captain, Shanita Gallagher.
You don't need to tell.
In wing defense, Azaria Allen. And in goal defense, Zakiria Small. And goalkeeper, Kijana Johnson. Reserves for Barbados, Appleton, Destiny, Hayes Ford, Shamika Griffiths, and Desani Week. Thank you, that's from Barbados and Grenada. In goal shooter, Akela McQueen. Goal attack and captain, Selena Brown. Wing attack, Rachel Murray. And in center, Anya Francis. Wing defense, Reynald Murray. And goal defense, Brennan Thomas. Goalkeeper, Celine Brown. Reserves for Grenada, Emma Chuck. Cardi Francis, Ariel John. Keisia Mathurin and Jay Peters. Officials, semifinals won Tracy Griffiths, Terrence Spears, and reserve Wayne Benty. All the best, ladies.
Just look for my name.
Watch your high view. So go for the list for now.
Paper. Paper. Everything is over there.
one.
Yeah, you can take one. This one.
Thank you. This one?
Say yeah,
I was waiting for you. That was a really good defensive setup from Grenada.
Alright, Pence Jabber. Alright, Pence Jabber. Yeah. Okay. But we not get the change and then we realize no?
I asked them to send it up to us, but
Barbados have a new goal attack. That goal attack is we have a new yes, that's what we're just going to say. Sent it?
They send it up. So I have to keep the ball. It's my time. Grenada is flooding the mid-turret really well, but it's just Grenada, I think, needs to hold their defense for another second to try and create better turnovers.
Yes, I totally agree. I just believe that they just need to hold and just settle the ball a little bit more and just play according to their game plan.
Yeah, it is the feed into the circuit to the goal shooter, I think, is inconsistent. If they try to bring the ball deep to the top of the D and then try to feed from closer to the D, especially as Barbados is double teaming the goal shooter, I just think their focus should be to carry the ball to the top.
Yes, so as we see Barbados going into attack, and so there'll be a very good steal there from the wing defense, Raynell Faray. So just as they say, and a beautiful lob pass to shooter Acacia. And this should be a very good goal, just as you were saying, Javon, just to settle the game, carry the ball to the D, and make that decisive pass.
Yeah, because when you have a tall shooter like that, if you take it to the top of the D and you feed from there, it's very difficult for the defenders to intercept. The Grenadian goalkeeper have a really good stretch over the ball.
Yes, but they're going up against two accurate moving shooters that Barbados chose to go into this first quarter.
That pass was not the smartest pass. We just spoke about taking it to the top of the D, and just as we spoke about it, they take a long pass from the center third.
So I think in terms of a coach's advice would, just to have them come up with that decisive game plan to take the ball closer to the shooter instead of trying to force that long range pass, because of course the defenders of Barbados are just as agile.
Yeah, and Grenada is notorious throughout this tournament for the constant overhead passes. And I'm not sure if there's much thought or practice put into place into that front cut and driving onto the ball and coming forward, because there's a lot of loop passes from the Grenadian team.
As it is now, if we take a look at the score, this goes in, right? So the score is now 13 to Barbados and 10 to Grenada. A very competitive first quarter, as we see. So it seems as if the height advantage that Grenada has is working a bit for them. Beautiful pass in from wing attack Raquel. And put away by Acacia of Grenada. Score 13 to Barbados, 11 to Grenada.
I like what Grenada is doing on centre pass, defensive-wise, where they are coming in front and flooding the centre third. But I think what Barbados might need to look at is delaying one of them, whether the goal attack or the wing attack should delay their entry into the centre third to open up the court a bit more in the centre and centre pass.
And it seems as if flooding that centre third would actually work in their favour based on the fact that they have the height. And so it will now force Barbados to do more running And let us see how it plays out in terms of that particular game plan. The passes
Grenada went back to the long passes and not trying to play that short game, which against a really athletic team like Barbados, the long passes is not going to work. Because what Barbados is playing a zone somewhat, because they make you assume that you think the pass is on, but the pass it isn't on because one of them is flying for it.
Yes.
Unfortunately for the goal shooter.
Yes, contact there from Damia. And an excellent steal from Damia. I mean, that is what you want to see where a team is concerned. You make an error and you give it your all to win it back. And as she steps forward, takes a shot and scores. Barbados 15, Grenada 11. Excellent job by Damia from Barbados.
I would just like to see a little bit more consistency from Grenada and centre pass and defensive centre pass, because when they flood the centre third, twice they got a turnover, but it's just they flooded one centre pass and then they change from that. Nice take from goal shooter.
And there they go, just trying the luck with the height and, just throwing up the ball, trying to see what happens, which is not really what you want to see from a team of this caliber. You want to see them using the height, moving around, not necessarily forcing that ball all the way from centre third.
That's the difference the arms over can make in the game, because as Barbados put the arms over, the pass was short going into the goal shooter and create that turnover. I think the goal defense, it's time now for her to adjust her game, because she has been called quite a few times now.
Yes, the adjustment, not really
contact.
Making that adjustment, and that would be Brunel Thomas of Grenada. Not really adjusting to the calls as is, and it may have a psychological effect on her. There we see Raquel doing a dive.
Yeah, and sometimes, umpires get criticized for blowing a player too often, but sometimes the coaches on the sideline need to feedback to the player what exactly they're doing wrong, or if they're unclear, is to ask the captain to go to the umpires and ask for clarification. And I think too often they don't seek clarification, and as a result, the player get demotivated during the game.
Yes, a lot of times players would feed from like the comments or whatever it is that the coaches. So in this event, yes, just as we were talking about in terms of adjusting her game, and we could definitely say that warning, caution, so to speak, was coming very
but what
soon.
would be interesting for me is if the coach decided to keep her on, because in previous games I've seen where she got warning before throughout this tournament, and no adjustments were made in taking her off the court or have her adjust her game. And I just think, coaches need to identify when something needs to change and make that change. And I just think the information to her needs to be clear now. This is what you're doing. This is what I want you to do. And give clear and direct instruction.
So as it is now, the score is 17-12 in favor of Barbados. I still think that Grenada has a very good chance in pushing this game in the second quarter. Like you said, coach will now need to have a word with Brunel in terms of adjusting her game and seeing how best she can just lift her spirit, adjust the game, move forward towards whatever it is that the umpires are calling, and just lift it up as is. She's an excellent defender, and she has brought Grenada thus far. So it's all up to the coaches, and let us see how Barbados will respond, how Grenada will respond in the second quarter.
Throughout this tournament, Grenada has consistently have a really slow start to the game, but they are finishing quite really strongly, because in the game against Canada recently, they started out extremely slow, but the way they finished was really good. And I would love to see Grenada with a little bit more consistency and a bit more structure in the exact. It's not clear what exactly the game plan is.
Right,
It's too much inconsistency, and it would be nice if you could see clear structure as this is what they are doing on centre pass. I am not sure what exactly they are doing on centre pass, but attacking centre pass, defensive centre pass, you can see what they are trying to do is to flood the mid-court and to force Barbados to lift the ball because of the height advantage that they has over Barbados. But I would like to see a clear structure and attacking centre pass.
I believe based on what we see or what we saw in the first quarter is that they were pretty much dependent on the height. So their game plan may have been that, after the center pass, just get the ball into the shooter. However, they need to adjust that because the defenders for Barbados, when we take a look at Padmore, that is now in the goal defense position, and Kajana, that has always been a tower of strength for Barbados, the long-range passes aren't so much working out as you said. So right now, just as you suggest, take the ball closer to the D, and then we'll be able to make a better or a more decisive pass into the circle.
Yeah, because in the previous 3 games they played in the preliminary rounds, they been indisciplined in making those long passes, and I just think that the attackers need to do the work and driving and coming front for that ball, making some front cut and drive. And I just don't see that from Grenada. I think too much. They're depending too much on that loopy overhead pass, and I just think going into Gibraltar, if they should qualify to be invited to go to Gibraltar, it is not going to work against the teams across the region, because when you look at the African teams, placing a group with them when they are very aerial, those aerial passes is not going to work because they are going to just intercept them.
So we are now ready to start the second quarter. The score, Barbados 17, Grenada 12, and we're looking to see what adjustments both teams, whether an adjustment to push the game a little further or an adjustment to tighten up some things as is. It's Grenada's center pass.
That was a nice drive through from goal attack. Good work from the goal attack of Grenada. Grenada has made a change and changed their goal attack, their goal defense, and I think it's a smart move from the coach.
Just to give Brunel some rest and just have her recuperate and understand what's happening in the game. Very good rebound there from Acacia, and the score is 18-14 to Barbados.
I would love to see a repeat of Trinidad-Barbados game in this game tonight, where it's a 1-goal difference at the end of the game. I would like to see Grenada push Barbados or Barbados push Grenada. Again, Grenada make a really nice drive to come forward for that center pass, and then immediately the indiscipline came in and the ball was lifted over.
So interception from the goalkeeper, Celine, and just as you say, indiscipline in terms of the passing and driving towards the ball. I really believe Grenada is just trying to rush the game a little bit too much and not going into their own playing style.
Yeah, and that's happened sometimes when we have a really tall team. We sometimes depend on the height to take us over the line, but sometimes we got to stick to the structure of the game and just be disciplined.
Right back to basics and just play the ball easy.
Yeah. The goalkeeper for Grenada is really playing well, and I was watching her in the first quarter, and she made a lot of touch to the ball. For me, it's just about adjusting her elevation, like when she take off to go for the interception. I just think she needs to just adjust that a bit, and she can turn over a few more balls to get Grenada back into the game. But passes like that is not going to help Grenada.
So based on what we're seeing already, we can see or just theorize that the game plan is actually to make those long-range looping passes in the circle. Less driving, we see where the goal attack just drive out wing attack, and something seems to happen there. Barbados now go on attack. Fluent passing and moving from the team Barbados, takes a shot and scores.
Goal shooter from Barbados is really accurate, and for me, I just think Grenada need to put a little bit more pressure on that ball coming in to try and create opportunities.
Footwork there called by umpire Tracy on Desani of Barbados. Grenada now goes on attack.
You see, Grenada, as soon as the ball is released, they run immediately behind the player for that overhead pass. What I would like to see Grenada is make those hard drives down the court, but I would like to see them do a turn back and then give that front option rather than depending on that.
So just as you were saying, Javon, in terms of what would be good.
Just look at Barbados. Barbados is bringing Grenada wide and then making that drive to get that square ball. And Barbados used the triangle quite a lot around the D. Unlike Grenada is depending on that loop pass into goal shooter. But if we're gonna depend on those passes, they gotta be accurate.
Most definitely, most definitely. Grenada passes to center third into the goal attack. Goal attack makes the pass over to wing defense. Wing defense to wing attack, and a beautiful setup coming right into the shooting area. Just that it wasn't a successful shot by Selena and Barbados goes on attack to the Sani. Desani making that pass over to Damia, and Damia takes a shot and scores. So the score now reads Barbados 23 and Grenada 16. I think it was a strategic plan to bring in Desani just somewhere midway that quarter, because she comes in and it is making a good difference for the flow of the attack for Barbados.
I will continue to say about the Grenadian intention. The goal shooter was double. Yes, she got the penalty, but the goal shooter was double. What I would like to see in those double is that goal attack, making that hard drive into the circle to pull one of the defenders to open up the shooting circle. Again, she's double team, and
she's trying to force that ball into the goal shooter. The passes aren't successful, so for her, one of the best things for her is for her to make the pass to either the center or wing attack, get into a position in the circle that would be a threat, a shooting threat, and then it will open up the defense on a one-on-one basis from there. If none of the defenders react, then she's all free, she's all good to make that shot and score. So turnover pass there, I believe from wing attack Barbados, that's Rihanna.
even when the players are standing in front of each other on the Grenadian team, they consistently loop that pass when it needs to be a flat chest pass. You know, that constant overhead pass. And I think it is not just Grenada throughout this tournament. I think most of the teams depend on those loop passes rather than doing the hard work and making those drives.
There she goes again with that pass inside the circle, even when the team is doubled. So I believe the coach now will definitely need to
make some adjustment and
adjustments to the game plan itself, because it is really not effective as is. The goal attack is all free. If we take a look right now, see, there we go.
I need the goal attack to just be a little bit more confident and take those shots and force the Bajan defenders to come off the goal shooter and open up the game. But if she's constantly looking to make those passes, they're not going to
pull off. They're going to continue with the double team.
Yeah.
And as it is right now, double teaming that the goal shooter, that's Acacia. Whenever they double team Acacia, they're getting a good response. They're getting success rate out of it. So why stop? So ball goes in now. She takes a step up and makes the lob pass to Acacia, who takes the shot and scores.
Acacia is finding herself into good shooting position. But what I would like to see goal attack do is to make that drive. Just tempt the defenders to come for that ball.
Pull off the double team and just force the one-on-one defense in the circle.
And a goal attack and goal shooter of Barbados own that defense, that baseline, and I just think Grenada need to identify that they are constantly driving that baseline and stop it.
The movement that Desani comes into the circle, giving the assistance to Damia from Barbados, is just an excellent one. You will realize that the combination that they have inside is really giving some issues where defense is concerned.
The Bajan shooters has been quite accurate throughout this tournament, and I just think Grenada needs to do something to stem the flow of balls that getting into the shooting circle and giving Barbados opportunities.
So as we see now, that lob pass game, I did not think that was an excellent choice for the goal attack to go behind
the shooter.
A standing shooter, expecting a lob pass to go either.
Especially with the height difference between her
exactly.
and the goal shooter. I think she should have created that screen and allowed nice shot from goal shooter Barbados. She should have gone to create that screen and allow the goal shooter to be behind her rather than she being behind the goal shooter.
So we see the movement of Barbados. Desani pulling to the side. She now rolls forward up to the top.
I think Grenada doesn't chase loose balls, and I think if Grenada, because the center could have chased that loose ball down and possibly get it, because where the Bajan center is coming from to where she was in a better position to get that loose ball.
Right, but I think they're just standing by and just watching. Not so much of a driving team or a team that would boost speed, so to speak. They depend a lot on their
That was a really
height.
Nice drive from goal attack.
Nice drive from goal attack, and she shoots and she scores. And she seems to be a very accurate and confident shooter. I'm just not sure as to why she's not using that confidence, that speed.
Yeah, and being more consistent in doing that, taking that drive and taking that shot. I just think if she become a bit more consistent with that drive and taking those shots, then the defenders will now have to rethink the double team.
Because what we're seeing now from the Barbados defense is the fact that once she goes in the circle, that's Selena. Once Selena goes in the circle, it now demands that
nice touch from goal defense. And Barbados have a new goal shooter.
So Barbados making a substitution and
Goal attack. Darcy Hines.
Darius Haynes.
The Barbados wing defense been put out of play for dangerous play by the umpire.
And we're going to be seeing some of these rules now in effect, especially for our competitions or international competitions at all level in regards to how serious the umpires are taking this dangerous play rule in effect, because they're trying to protect the players at all costs. So the moment they identify anything in regards to a dangerous play, they're going to penalize it. And I believe this will now clean up the sport a bit with the hope of the injury prevention or protecting the players from getting too much of serious injuries from what we can call reckless plays.
Now, what I like about the tournament being here is that the medical team that are on staff are very clear as to the team physios about the concoction rule and trying to look at how to safeguard the young ladies, because Grenada went straight back to that long loopy pass into the goal circle. But back to what I was saying, like the doctors here who are at the stadium are very clear that if the player hit their head, they would not like to see them back on the court until they've been assessed. But most of the teams are not, is not welcoming to most of the team because it's win at all costs. And what I would like to see us doing more of in our region is really think a lot more on that concoction injuries, and let's be more clear that we all need to be practicing the same thing. I don't want it to be something that is practiced mainly in the French-speaking countries within the region, but I want the English-speaking, all of us, to be looking at that concoction rule and to make it very clear that if a player hit their head, they should really be looked at and assessed clearly before being put back on the court.
And I mean, it will come into play, especially in the English-speaking countries. It's there, the rule is there, and like any upgrades or anything that is going to go forward, coaches will start adopting, managers will start adopting, and realize that we really need to protect our ladies as best as possible. We see Grenada,
that's just not.
Yes,
it's just the indiscipline.
Indiscipline, because if they're out for a goal, defense is out, which means one defender is in the circle. I think this is the best time for them to capitalize and carry the ball in where they can have two attackers against one defense. But again, like you said, Javon, the indiscipline of just trying to make that overhead long pass and not adjusting to the flow of the game, that will affect Grenada as is. So we see the 2-minute suspension is now up for Zakilia of Barbados. She is back on the court. I hope she can adjust her game, because if she should get another warning, it now means that she's going to be expelled from the game.
Yeah, Barbados have other players on the bench, and I would take her out the game. I know the contact that she was blown for she was late, but the rules are the rules, and it's very clear that she was late and the contact, but it was dangerous. And I think the umpires. The umpiring has been consistent in the tournament, and I think it was very clear what happened. She was late and the contact was made, and I just think the umpire did the right thing, because it's to stop other late challenge in the game and to keep it a bit more. It's to let the defenders think about what they are doing.
So the call, I would agree with the call that the umpire did, so no fault of the umpire or anything. I believe from here, the coach will now have a word with her in regards to how to adjust and how to know what to do if she's going in late and how to pull back from all of that. So we see the score, it's getting a little closer, a little more competitive. Barbados 31 and Grenada 27. It is now halftime here at the Centre Port de FF Coltel Paul Concron
Shanshan.
here in Guadeloupe.
Point-à-Pied, Guadeloupe. It's a really nice facility. It just would have been nice if it was air conditioned. But it's a really nice facility. The playing surface is really good.
The playing surface is excellent. The environment is excellent. The stadium is excellent. I believe what most of us would, or what we are trying to adjust to, is just how humid it is. We believe, like you said, a little air condition because it's not a windy day. And so even though the doors and the windows are open, we're not getting any wind in. But apart from that, the conditions, the stadium, the floor, it's an excellent spot here in Guadeloupe. Excellent netball is being played. The staff here at Guadeloupe has been doing a fantastic job. I will say a fantastic job to all the volunteers and the staff here for ensuring that we are having a successful tournament.
Yeah, for me, I would like to speak to the Grenadan coach just to get an idea as to what he's thinking. With the score being so close, and with the errors they are making, is what is their plan going into the third quarter, which is championship quarter, because the team that win that quarter is most likely going to win the game. So for me, I would love to hear what the Grenada coach has to say about what is their game plan going into the third quarter. And if I'm being honest with you, I wasn't expecting the scoreline to be this close, because Barbados has been really dominant throughout this tournament. Because when you look at the way Barbados played, Guadeloupe, I'm going to use as an example, they played their center goal attack and they still managed to score 113 goals. And their intention was never to score 100 goals against Guadeloupe, because they did everything they can not to have scored 100 goals. And I must commend Barbados for that, because to come to a championship and watch a scoreline 113 to 4 or 5, I'm not sure what it was. But you know, that's not what we want to see. But I want people to understand that Guadeloupe only started playing this sport realistically 2 years now. You know, they played in the Cannot game in 2022. That was played in Pittsburgh here in Guadeloupe. And they were footworking quite a lot. And most of the umpires here were shocked when they saw that they weren't footworking as much anymore, and they have structure. They kind of know what they're doing. It's just that, you know, that finishing touch that Guadeloupe needs. And, you know, and I just think in the region, we just need to look at how we can share education with coaching and umpiring. And I think as soon as we looked at that in the region, and I think, you know, the region can get back to where it was once upon a time when we were a force to be reckoned with. And I just think, you know, we need to see how best we can help the developing countries in our region. And, you know, like Sencha Staisha, who was voted in for membership, who now become a new member of the region, who's a new country, who is playing quite a lot of netball even before becoming a member. They have been playing since February consistently in tournaments in Saba, in St. Martin, and in Anguilla, and here in Guadeloupe last year. And I just think, you know, we got to just look at how we can bring more structure to coaching in the region. And I think education for coaches and umpires in the region for the grassroots level is something that I think, you know, the region governing body needs to look at.
So I know for a fact that AFNA will have quite a bit of work to do when it comes on to, in terms of getting the other countries, getting a structure into the region, and how best we can just get everybody almost on a level playing field. The sport of netball is an extremely wonderful sport, and I would love if for the next qualifiers we have anything between at least maybe 15, 20 teams competing at the qualifiers. That would say big for the region.
Yeah, we started out with 15 teams expressing interest, and up until 4 weeks before the tournament started, we had 11. And it was just unfortunate that burial create devastation in St. Vincent, and as a result, St. Vincent had to withdraw the team at the last minute, because St. Vincent, the president, Natasha Baptiste, she held it out for as long as she could in withdrawing the team and exploring different avenue to find the revenue to bring the young ladies here. And I would have loved to have seen St. Vincent here, because after visiting St. Vincent a few times this year and seeing those young ladies, I think they would have done something special in this tournament. And I'm gutted not to have seen them here, because I think they would have been one of the team competing for one of those 3 spots to be invited to take part into the qualifiers, the championship, the World Cup in Gibraltar.
Pour le prêt générateur, économe, et pour les dons pour la tombola, le tapeur, comique créole chaud, harmonie, Charlie Jet, Blue Lagoon, Acropark, Male Nails,
Come on.
All right, so we're here with Kimoy, and she is manager for Team Grenada. So she's just gonna give us a little quick run as to what to expect for the third quarter. So as it is right now, you're down by 4. We saw some errors going in from the first half. What are your plans, or what could we expect for the next half?
All right, so for the next half, you should expect more hands over ball. We're looking for more defending. We have to stay close to the players in order to intercept the passes. This is just a minor setback for a major comeback. It's just a warm-up. We're coming. We're going to give everything that we have. We're going to defend. Only their best is good enough. And as long as we know it's their best, then I am happy. Thanks to Ms. Coach Kathy and Gabriel. She spoke to them, and we're ready with energy, and we're applying that pressure.
All right, thank you so much. So all the best to Team Grenada for the next half.
really want to see some more discipline from Grenada in their attack. I just think the inconsistency is just really, as soon as Grenada came back on, it was just loop pass after loop pass, and the goal attack is still not making that drive into the circle to pull the double. Another loop
pass, another turnover. So I guess the story will continue to be the same in terms of not making that adjustment as management would just allude to.
Nice rebound from goalkeeper. Nice take from goal defense of Barbados. Nice backup goalkeeper.
So now we see Grenada on the attack. Nice flow, and they go right back to that lob pass. I'm wondering if we're watching the same game.
On a double from in the center third.
Just to know if we're watching the same game, to realize that that lob pass with the double team is not really so effective at this moment.
I just think Grenada just need to look at what they are doing, and I'm not sure if they have watched replay of any of their game to realize that the double it's been consistent and been successful. And when you look at the game against Canada, who has two defenders that were quite a lot shorter than the Grenadian. The Canadian team on a whole was a lot shorter than the Grenadian team, but what Canada was successful at is doubling on a goal shooter and creating those interceptions from Leo. And, you know, she was very good and she have really good elevation, and the work that Canada is in front, and I just don't think Grenada has learned anything from that Canadian game.
Not much in terms of the adjustment we're seeing now, where in spite of Grenada having so many turnovers, unforced turnovers, the score now is Barbados 36 and Grenada 30. So Barbados has increased their lead by 2 coming into this third quarter.
And both of those turnovers came from that long loopy pass into the goal shooter on a double. And I just think Grenada just need to adjust, and goal shooter really need to finish from that position. And, you know, she has to make that shot in once. Besides that, it's going to motivate the defenders to start blocking out on that shot.
which is really not what a shooter wants at this time.
I really think the coach needs to give more direct instruction to the defense, because they have been consistently blown out the game, and I just think, you know, there's no adjustment being made from the defense of Grenada.
Well, they will have to come up with something quick, because Barbados is now building momentum. They are driving right through the court, moving very quick, sharp movement.
And missing rebound is not
going to help them either.
No, and I think every loose ball Grenada ought to be really, really dogged and trying to get those. That's a nice interception from
interception from the center, Anya Francis. And just as she did the interception, it's a turnover, unforced turnover.
The conversion from defense to attack is not working. The conversion rate is not good. And I just think this is something that Grenada really needs to look at, is those conversion. They really need to punish Barbados when they get those, when they get possession, because giving Barbados second opportunity is not working in their favor.
Really not working. As we see the score now, it's 39 to Barbados, 31 to Grenada. There seems to be a kickball, and so it's a free pass awarded to Grenada. Almost a turnover from that free pass, which is really not what you want to see.
I would like to see Grenada convert on this one to put scoreboard pressure on the Barbados.
No.
I think it's very clear what the instruction are to the
instruction
young ladies.
is just to get that
so
ball
I
to the goal
think we
shooter.
are saying that the young ladies are not adjusting to the play, but hearing the coach shouting, give her, so that means the instruction is to make those long passes into the circle, and I just think the coach need to change the strategy because it's not working.
That strategy as is.
Because giving her the ball and making accurate placement of the ball, it is not. And sometimes, you know, when coaches are on the bench and, you know, you're trying to give instruction, but sometimes the comprehension of that instruction is not clear.
It's not clear, that's correct.
Yeah, and I just think sometimes we need to make those adjustments at interval, because then probably you could ask the player, do you understand what I'm saying? And just to ensure that it is very clear.
All right, so now we're on top, and now would be a very good time to give it to her.
And it is good, and that was a very good pass. And nice finish from the goal shooter. And I just think Grenada need to be more consistent in taking the ball to the top of the D, because with the height of the goal shooter, if the ball is get to the top of the D, there's nothing Barbados can do to stop that pass in. But the challenge will be for Grenada is to be disciplined to get that ball to the top of the D and then make that feed.
So we see Raquel coming back into the game.
As wing attack.
So the height, Grenada goes for the height. We are just hoping that it will work in their advantage.
What I like with Barbados' goal shooter, she's very good at, if she loses the ball, she's go back into defense immediately. And I think it's nice when players identify that, you know, I've lost that ball, now I gotta go and, you know, defend. Nice driving from goal attack to force that pull. Now, that was a good time for, nice shot, but that was a good time for her to then pass
to make
off to
that
the goal.
pass, because now she gets the defenders one-on-one.
She got the defender's attention.
And now the defender will know that will now be an advantage that they are looking for. That one-on-one pass inside. So the coach's instruction may have been, yes, get it to her, but then it's now the when.
Yes.
The when is now important in getting the ball into Acacia from Grenada. As we see Barbados going down into attack, taking that shot. And the score now is 42 to Barbados, 34 to Grenada.
It's just unfortunate for wing attack to went outside. But I think that was good defensive work from the wing attack, because she continued to drive until she was able to make some contact with the ball. And I just think Grenada is making that drive, but the drive is too wide, and I think Grenada need to making that drive and cutting more towards ball rather than going wide. Because if you're going to go wide, the ball needs to be a lot quicker, and I don't think the release from Grenada is quick enough.
So Grenada, with their defensive play just now, has possession of the ball in their goal third. But if you look at the setup on the court, you'll realize that everyone is on one side.
All in the center third and in the same area. So nobody's opening the court.
So even with the height,
the wing attack and center and goal attack is on the same side of the court.
There's
no one to make that swing
no space
to open up the attack. Just look at Barbados and the way Barbados attack. Someone is always coming forward for the ball. That was nice work of the triangle by Barbados, and I just think if Grenada can work the triangle a little bit more, they can be a more threatening to Barbados. I don't think Grenada needs to stem the flow of ball that going into goal shooter.
Well, you see, what Barbados is using is somewhat of a mixture of a moving circle with a standing shoot approach. And as is, I believe it's confusing the defenders of Grenada. Grenada's game plan doesn't seem to be working to the best of their advantage, and they're not really adjusting as much. The score now reads Grenada 35, Barbados 44. Barbados takes
really
a long
nice shot from goal shooter from Barbados.
From Damia.
I love the eye release from her.
And it's now a 10-goal lead. Grenada has to respond, and has to respond very quickly as we go in the dying minutes of the third quarter. Another turnover from Grenada. Barbados in the driver's seat and looking to take this bus home comfortably going into the fourth quarter.
Well, they always say the third quarter is championship quarter, and it was always going to be the person who dominates this quarter sets up what the fourth quarter is going to look like and what the possible outcome of the game is going to look like. So, with Barbados going ahead by 10 goals, all Barbados needs to do is to keep possession and center pass. And Barbados is constantly going for interception. And I just think Grenada needs to adjust. Now, we're in the center third and we are looping passes. And I just think Grenada really need to look at their game plan, because if they should lose this game and go into the third place playoff for a spot to possibly going into Gibraltar, those passes are not going to work.
So they're definitely going to need to do a lot of adjustment. There goes the final whistle for the third quarter. The score reads Barbados 46 and Grenada 36. An extension of that lead that they had.
36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36. 36
Yeah, and
Barbados 4-6.
someone making the announcement and calling Grenada instead of calling Trinidad and Tobago instead of Grenada. I think everyone is anticipating or excited to see the next matchup between Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. And I myself is looking forward to that game because both teams are quite athletic, and it would be nice to see.
Quite athletic, and we're going to see some good netball. We have watched the game between Trinidad and Barbados.
That was a
very exciting game, with Barbados coming away winners by just a goal. And that game could have gone either way. I really believe that so far for the tournament, that can be voted the best game of the tournament so far.
Well, you know what? That can be voted the best game of the tournament, but I think Antigua came on this morning. It was an excited game. That 9 o'clock game, double overtime,
and Antigua winning that game by 2 goals.
Because after the overtime, and I just think that was an exciting game, and that was really a good game to watch. And the St. Martin, I think Antigua have played quite a few really close games in this tournament. The one in the preliminary round with St. Martin won it by a single goal. That was another exciting game to watch, and it was really nice to see the two teams pushing each other. And St. Martin and Antigua and St. Kitts and our close rivalry, and they're close to each other. It's always intense seeing them play each other. It was really nice to watch. But for me, my team for this tournament, who have not lost a single game, and I would say that they haven't lost a single game in the sense that you cannot beat them because their spirit, no matter how many goals you score against them, their spirit never die, and that's Guadeloupe.
Team Guadeloupe. I am totally impressed with the team.
You could beat them in the number of goals you score, but when it comes to positivity, when it comes to energy, there's nothing you could do to stop Guadeloupe, and I love that. And to see that same team played last year in a club tournament we had here as a part of their preparation to come to this, and they played against a club team from St. Lucia who were far away the better team, who was just managed to was able to only beat them by a single goal because the crowd and the determination and grit that Guadeloupe has, they will play until that final whistle. And when that final whistle comes, they will play again. And for me, if all the teams in the Caribbean, in the Americas region, and can adopt their principle, it's just going to be, we can get back to where we were.
So when you have so many countries and the game going right down to the wire, teams winning in overtime, teams winning by 1, it really speaks volumes to say that there is really no one-way winner anymore within the Caribbean. Teams are almost at the same level, up to par, willing to push to the limit, and that is what you really want from a tournament. Not necessarily to see 100-3, but really see teams going right down the wire, double overtime, winning by 1.
What I love about the Guadeloupe, St. Martin and Canada team, they are extremely young. Like the bulk of the Canadian team, 8 of them is still eligible for the next qualifier. And that is really nice to see. And to see Canada push Grenada to the final 30 seconds of the game, that's amazing.
So we start the final quarter, and Team Barbados in possession of the ball at the top of their shooting arc, making that pass over to goal shooter Damia. She takes the shot and scores, and the score is now 47 Barbados, 36 Grenada.
And Barbados have not moved their center into wing attack. This is her second time interviewing her after her play at the match in the game against Guadeloupe, and to see her now move back from center to goal attack, and that was the first time she playing goal attack for Barbados was in the game against Guadeloupe, and to see her now back into goal attack, that is really good. The speed she has will create problems for the Grenadian defense. What I love about the Barbados goal attack,
Let's see how far behind it intercept supposed to come on the time. Yes, I got you some.
Nice shot from goal shooter from Barbados. I think Barbados is continuing from where they left off in the previous quarter, and I just think Grenada has still has not adjusted their game.
Well, I would love to see some technical assistance going down to Team Grenada in terms of knowing how best to adjust their game and the coaching plan, because if you take a look at the height and the agility of these ladies, this can be a world-class team in the near future. I mean, just the coaching assistance and they're all good.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of the smaller countries within the region, I think infrastructure played a crucial role in the way things are done, and I think until all of the countries within the region has a high performance program, I think we're always going to see the lack of technicality and the lack of constructive structure in the game and clear game plan. And I think the countries and the regions are doing the best they can with the limited resource they have.
So we see the pass going in to shooter Damia. She steps up and she scores. So the score now reads Barbados 53 and Grenada 41. A beautiful interception there by the center for Barbados.
I think goalkeeper really need to adjust their game because it's, you know, when you have been blown consistently by umpires for the same thing, and I think, you know, the coach needs to give clear feedback at interval, but also as a player, you got to identify when it's not working and to make the necessary adjustment, because that's what's going to show or prove the caliber of player you're going to be in the future, is how quickly you adjust to the umpire's call. I still think Grenada needs to do a bit more work on goal shooter from Barbados. I think she has dominated that circle throughout this game, and I just think Grenada needs to make the necessary adjustment to it. Nice shot from goal attack.
So with just a little over 7 minutes to go, we see Barbados in the driver's seat, just taking it bits and pieces at a time. Grenada is still not completely out of it as yet. I truly believe with a little adjustment, they are able to apply some sort of pressure to the defensive team of Barbados and make this a really competitive game. But let's see how it goes. If it is that there will be, we are hoping for some changes, but the attack goes to Team Barbados. She shoots and she scores.
Yeah, I just think, like I said before, the goal shooter for Barbados has dominated that circle, and I just don't think Grenadian defense recognize that the volume of the passes into the circle are going to go to goal shooter. And I just think they need to do, the goalkeeper needs to do, in the first quarter she was playing in front, and I think it created some problems for Barbados. But now she's gone to playing more in the back rather than sticking in front and forcing them to lift that ball.
So I believe that is why Barbados would have made that change to bring in a quicker goal attack, one that will move around in the circle. And just as we were suggesting Grenada should do, is to force that one-on-one defense in the circle, which will now open up that advantage that they're looking for to make the lob pass into Damia. As it is, she's accurate in shooting, percentage still on the high.
I just think if Grenada could increase if they could only increase their gains, their percentage gain to goal, I think that would have made the game a lot more competitive than, because Barbados is slowly blowing away the game, blowing the game out. And I just think Grenada is making lots of turnovers, but it's just what they are doing with those turnovers. Gain to goal, if they could increase that percentage, and I think that could bring the game a bit closer. And, you know, because having a 17-goal deficit is going to be tough in 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes for Grenada to come back to, but what they can do is to bridge the gap between goals, is to reduce the deficit.
So now we see Team Grenada taking a shot, and she scores, and the score is Barbados 58 and Team Grenada 42. Center pass going to Barbados, driving down, she turns, good attack, cuts, takes the shot and scores.
I spoke about that baseline in the previous quarters, where Grenada just allow Barbados goal attack and goal shooter to dominate the baseline, and I think one of the defenders need to acknowledge what is happening and make the necessary adjustment. I would love to see the goal defense try and take the ball down rather than batting it. Quite a few times she has gotten close to the ball that she's tipping out rather than catching the ball.
So just looking on the body language of the ladies on the court, I am not sure if Grenada is going to be making that final push to get the ball in or to even minimize the deficit as is. Goal defense called for obstruction there. Shooter takes the shot and scores. So the score reads Barbados 60 and Grenada 43 with just over 2 minutes to go. So at this point it would be a lovely gesture if we can see the other players from Team Barbados getting some sort of playing run.
I think Barbados have this game in the back, and I think Barbados have won this game, and I just think it would be nice for to bring on the entire bench now and to have all the other players, which I think they have done because they have now changed the goal shooter, which is nice to see.
So we now have under 1 minute to play. So from here to see Barbados are through to the final of this World Cup qualifier.
And as a result of making the finals, they are automatically now qualified to be invited to take part in the Youth World Cup in Gibraltar in September next year.
So it is safe to say a congratulations to Team Barbados hitting that spot, either first or second, which, like you said, qualifies them for an invitation to play.
To play in the Youth World Cup in Gibraltar.
And it must be an exciting feeling to get that feat. 9 seconds of the game, and we see umpire Terence blowing the final whistle. So now we say congratulations to Team Barbados They are the first finalists here at the NetBall World Youth Cup qualifier here in Guadeloupe.
Player of the match for the game is Samaya Warrior.
So we're just getting word that Demaya Waldron, that's the goal shooter for Team Barbados,
head coach of
just been
Team
awarded
Barbados.
Player
Pamela,
of
how
the
do
match.
you feel being the first team to secure that spot to be invited to take part in the World Youth Cup in Gibraltar next year?
Only one way I can answer this. Very, very happy, and very happy for the girls.
Watching the play throughout the game, what we were looking at is a structure that Barbados, as these young ladies is playing from Barbados, compared to what the seniors are playing. What is the difference between the seniors playing last year and the structure that these juniors have? Because the structure is very clear. Can you give us an insight as to what those instructions were to those young ladies leading up to the qualifiers?
Okay, well, I don't really want to comment on the senior structure. So I will just comment on what I know in terms of what we have coached. So the girls have worked very hard in a short space of time, and they have followed a game plan. We have a game plan all the time. We research what we have to do, and we make sure that we feel confident and comfortable in what we're doing.
Another thing for me, when I looked at the way your team is performing, what I love about that I've seen from Barbados, you're not afraid to make changes and to put players in position they are not comfortable playing with. Can you tell us, like, what was the program leading up to the qualifiers, why you're so confident and comfortable in making those changes?
All our players are very versatile in their positions, so players can play 2, maybe 3 positions. So we try to make them as versatile as possible. We're always training and trying different units of work, so that if we do have any problems, like we have a few players that were slightly injured, we always got enough players to fill in to take those places.
Was that one of the prerequisites for the players being selected to take part, is that they had to play multiple positions?
No, it wasn't. They just had to be talented, they just had to be committed, and they just had to want it.
Okay, thank you and congratulations on making the finals and qualified to be invited to Gibraltar.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine. Congratulations, Namaya, on being named the player of the match. Well deserved. Just give us a little brief view of the game and your plans looking at tomorrow's game.
My plans for tomorrow, I know I'm confident shooter.
Okay.
All I have to do is believe in myself, and I know I'm a all-round shooter, so I can take shots from everywhere. And our team has to just stick to the game plan.
Well said. Congratulations on the